welcome to The Explainer. We're here to take these huge, complex histories and turn them into stories you'll actually remember. So let's get right into it. We're going to tackle a 9,000-year-old mystery. This is a story of incredible highs, devastating lows, and a rebirth that is, frankly, unbelievable. Our story doesn't start with some grand king or a massive empire. Nope. It begins with the world's very first engineers in a place called Hrgढ. Okay, let's try to wrap our heads around this. We're talking 9,000 years ago. That's thousands of years before the pyramids in Egypt were even a thought. And the people here, they weren't just surviving, they were innovating. They were building multi-room houses out of mud bricks, figuring out how to cultivate cotton for clothes. And this part is just wild. They were practicing a form of dentry using stone drills. And you know, from these humble beginnings, one of the world's first great urban cultures blossomed, the Indus Valley Civilization. And when I say urban, I mean it. We're talking about ancient cities with a level of planning that would make a modern city planner nod in approval. What's so amazing here is the proof of incredibly sophisticated central planning. Just think about it for a second. Standard-sized bricks used across thousands of kilometers, streets laid out in a perfect grid like you'd see in Manhattan, and they had advanced covered drainage systems with manholes. The craziest part? They did all of this, and we still haven't been able to decipher their writing. It's a huge mystery. Okay, let's fast forward a few centuries. This foundation of engineering and innovation, it didn't just disappear. It paved the way for an era of just unparalleled genius. This was India's golden age, under the Gupta Empire. So, out of all their incredible contributions to the world, this one might be the biggest. This little symbol, the concept of zero. It was a gift to the world from the mathematician Aryabhata, and it is the absolute bedrock of all modern math and technology. Seriously, without it, the device you're watching this on right now just wouldn't exist.
And their engineering was just as mind-blowing. Take a look at this. It's a 1,600-year-old iron pillar. It's been standing out in the sun and the rain in Delhi for all that time, and there's not a single spot of rust on it. It's a metallurgical secret we still can't fully crack today.
And their brilliance wasn't just in math and metal. This place, Nalanda, it wasn't just a school. It was a global beacon of knowledge, the world's first residential university, where 10,000 students from all over Asia came to learn philosophy, medicine, and astronomy. But, as we know, even the brightest golden ages can be fragile. And yeah, this age of incredible light was followed by a long, dark night. A series of invasions began to tear at the subcontinent, and they weren't just after treasure. They were targeting its very soul. The attacks from invaders like Mahmud of Ghazni, they weren't just raids for gold. The constant destruction of a spiritual and cultural center, like the Somnath Temple, it was a deliberate, devastating blow aimed right at the heart of the people. But maybe the most heartbreaking loss of all was the destruction of Nalanda by the invader Bakhtiyar Khilji. I mean, just try to imagine it. A library with 9 million handwritten manuscripts. All the accumulated knowledge of centuries, medicine, astronomy, philosophy, all of it turned to ash. They say it was so massive that it burned for 3 straight months, and the smoke literally blocked out the sun. So after centuries of these brutal invasions from the land, a new power showed up, this time from the sea. And this was a totally different kind of conquest. This one wouldn't just colonize the land, it aimed to colonize its economy and even its spirit. These numbers right here tell a truly staggering story. Before the British, India's economy made up almost a quarter of the entire world's GDP. By the time they left, that share had crashed to just about 4%. This wasn't bad luck. They systematically dismantled India's thriving industries, turning an economic giant into a captive market for British goods. You know, it always seems to be a single spark that starts a wildfire. And in this case, it was a single act of defiance. A sepoy, a local soldier named Mangal Pandey, refused an order. And that moment lit the fuse for the first major unified uprising against the British Raj. Everything changed after this. Now, even though that 1857 revolt was crushed, and brutally so, it lit a fire for freedom that just could not be put out. It would burn for the next 90 years, and in those flames, a new nation was forged. One path to freedom was completely new, something the world had never really seen. It was nonviolence, or satyagraha. Led by Mahatma Gandhi, this movement got millions of people to challenge the most powerful empire on earth, not with guns, but with sheer moral force and civil disobedience. But there was another path too, the path of revolutionaries, like Bhagat Singh. For them, freedom wasn't going to be given. It had to be taken. They believed that ultimate sacrifice and direct action were the only things that could awaken the nation and shatter the chains of colonial rule. And freedom did finally come in 1947, but it came with a terrible, terrible price. The sunrise of independence was stained by the horror of partition. It triggered the largest mass migration in all of human history, displacing millions and tearing the very fabric of the subcontinent apart. So, from those ashes of partition, a new nation had to be literally pieced together. It was leaders like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel who took on the absolutely monumental task of convincing over 500 princely states to join, to become one. They made the vision of Akhand Bharat, a unified India, a reality, when everyone predicted it would shatter into pieces. And the journey of this new nation, well, it's perfectly summed up right here. It goes from transporting its first rocket parts on the back of a bicycle to becoming a nuclear power, to being the very first nation on Earth to land a spacecraft on the south pole of the moon. I mean, what a stunning testament to pure resilience and ambition. And this transformation was everywhere you looked. India didn't just rebuild, it completely remade itself. It went from a country facing mass starvation to a global food exporter. It went from a shattered, colonized economy to becoming the fifth largest economy in the world. So when you look at this 9,000-year story, you realize it isn't just about what was lost. It's about an incredible, almost unbelievable capacity to rise up again time after time from the absolute ashes. Which really just leaves us with one big question. What is the source of that unbreakable spirit?